Good evening, dear viewers of Smart 24 TV. I am Dr. Joseph Tindeva. We come with the Policon program, and tonight we are blessed to be with our dear guest, Honorable Dennis Onekalit Amele. He is the Member of Parliament, Chitugum Municipality, and I always connect him also to his previous portfolio of political leadership, especially when he was a guild president of Makerere University 2011, and it happens to be, and it is a fact, he was the 78th guild president. You are welcome, sir, to this program, the Policon, and we are here to discuss matters of politics and the economy. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you very much, my brother, Dr. Joseph, for that very phantasmagorious introduction.
Oh, yes, sir.
I would like to, first of all, acknowledge and thank very much the management of Smart 24 TV for the good program they always bring for this country. We are privileged always to actually be in this program.
Thank you for partnering with us, especially in information sharing to the countrymen and countrywomen. It is our deliberate point of view as Smart 24 TV to share information, to teach the populace, and analyze critical views that can provide a progressive society. And here we are to have this topic of discussion, that is the impact analysis of Uganda's multi-party politics on effective legislation and economic progress of Uganda. Initially, whenever politics is being talked about, it shouldn't be referred as campaign. I would like to bring it to maybe a new perspective of the viewers and listeners. Politics, just in my brief preamble, as I will be welcoming our guest, it should be a platform of determining how resources are distributed among the populace and those who manage the resources to ensure there is justice, there is equity, there is fairness in the distribution of these resources. And here we are talking about Uganda for the last almost now 60 years, yes, 60 years, over 6 years of our independence. Next month we'll be having, celebrating, we'll be celebrating our independence. And that shows us that since 1962, we have had multi-party politics in Uganda.
62 years now.
62 years now, thank you. And the multi-party politics in Uganda, the 62 years, should take us to a place of knowing that the independence which we regained, which we attained rather, was to ensure we are economically independent, we are politically independent, we are socially independent. That's the bottom line of how Uganda agitated for independence. No wonder the first multi-party politics we recall that are historical. We refer to Uganda People's Congress, and the founders are no longer alive. They went to meet the Lord, may their soul rest in eternal peace. And we're also able to recall, that is the late Milton Obote, and for UPC, Uganda People's Congress, and also able to recall, which is still in existence, the Democratic Party, a vibrant party which was able to, as we remember the late Ben Chwanuka, and we continue to 1967 before the change of the constitution via the crisis that occurred by then time, the constitutional and political crisis, and which threw us to 1980, where we saw a number of other political parties coming on board, including the UPM, Uganda People's Movement, that later, modified herself to be the NRA after it went into for arms for a civil war. And we are able to also recall that going back to 1962, we had the Kabaka Yeka, the Conservative Party, and then after that we never had multi-party politics again. And during the reign of Amin, 1971 up to 79, we saw now leadership or the head of state who had to lead this country by decrees, no constitution in place, and that connects us to legislation because we didn't have a parliament, we didn't have laws by the then time. All was suspended. The rule of law was suspended. And we go to 1980 to 85. Of course, those who felt that we were not having democracy through the electoral democracy expected, and I will not go into that, maybe I'll leave it for the guest, we ended up going into a civil war that brought the NRM into government. There we are, from 1994, we were in a process from 1986, where the leadership also, it was a military rule, because those who were sworn in, they didn't come by ballot, it was by the use of the gun. And one of the senior politicians normally makes that explanation, that we were again captured by the gun. And even in 1962, we were saying that we are getting independence from the white man. And again, now where we are, it is believed, some they say, political commentators and analysts, that we remained under the capture of the gun. It is not yet realized whether we have taken a step that is referring Uganda as a purely multi-party democracy country. And it is also not realized whether the legislation required to give a mileage for this country socio-economic stability has been realized. Since 1992 and 1995, as we had to come on board with a new constitution, and the new constitution that was majorly streamlining our politics to be one-party state movement system. 2005, all that we know, as we went back now to multi-party politics after serious legal battles and political agitation that could not allow a dictatorship under a movement system. And now we are counting good years since 2005 up to where we are. I participated in the first multi-party politics at the constituency level for Member of Parliament for Rwanda East constituency. I was a bit vigilant and I said, let me try this kind of new politics because we were, thriving under the one-party system. A lot has happened. Some laws have been proposed. Some either turned from bills to act of parliament. Others are still pending, shelved. And all of them, they do surround around either those which are alternative to have the alternative laws that can guarantee this country a sustainable economy and a peaceful country. Here we are, Mr. and Honorable Dennis Onekalita Amere. Honorable Dennis Onekalita Amere, he is a member of the National Executive Committee of the Forum for Democratic Change. And since the return of multi-party politics, it is the Forum for Democratic Change that has been having the flag of being the leading political opposition party, with the different alternative policies, legislative agenda, until of recent when the National Unity Platform came on board. So we cannot hold the multi-party political analysis, the impact on the National Unity Platform of 1 year. Here I'm privileged, sir, to be with you, who has a lot that makes it associate with the Forum for Democratic Change in its purposeful position to advance the political agenda of this country. I would like to welcome you in that kind of a discussion we'll go through this night. It's a pleasure to have you, please.
Yeah, thank you once again, my brother, Dr. Joseph. I am actually very happy for the elaborate introduction, the background check that you have given on the politics of this country. Me, I want to be very specific. Mm-hmm. First of all, the coming of Museveni in 1986 through the guerrilla war was welcomed by the country like the appearance of a Messiah. People expected a lot from him. I remember the streets were filled to capacity. People celebrated his coming to power. But little did people realize that actually what awaited the country was disastrous. It didn't take long. You talk very well about the banishment, the closure of the multi-party politics that was by then, it was being practiced when it came to the one-party system, the movement system. And his reason was very simple, that he was trying to avoid sectarian politics in the country. And yet, in real sense, his one-party system, the movement system, he was actually practicing favoritism to the people who support his own movement, the people who support his own ideology, the NRA ideology. He would actually facilitate candidates against others. So, basically, if we are to talk about the multi-party system, I want to begin by saying that the country is under captive. We are under semblance of being in a multi-party dispensation, right from 2005, the way you have rightly put it, when the national consensus were done. Census were done, and 90% of people voted in support of a multi-party system. And of course, indeed, it came. In reality, the multi-party system would have opened doors to various spectrums of political parties to play roles of how the country, Uganda, can best be governed. But to the contrary, why I said the country is being taken captive, it is the various political platforms that we have currently in the country, almost 26 various political parties, do not have a level ground, a level platform to openly sail out their ideas of supporting governance in this country. So the challenge that we, the Forum for Democratic Change, are having now, just like any other opposition political parties, let me zero myself to FDC.
Yes.
We all aspire to have a leadership of a country that guarantee peace, that guarantee shared economy, that guarantee actually health, guarantee quality education, and guarantee progress. Peace is not merely the absence of war. Peace is actually an embodiment of very many things. But the problem that we have at the moment, much as we in the opposition really aspires to see a Uganda that can take care of everybody uniformly, we are not being given that platform. We have come with a lot of legislative agendas, right from our time, when FDC was still leading opposition
since 2006.
Since 2006.
Yes, sir.
We have come with a lot of legislative agendas that we have put forward before Parliament. We have put forward before this country. We have campaigned throughout the corners of this country, telling the country what we as FDC would do if granted the mandate. But you know what? The challenge we have is that even the election that we have been going through are semblance of elections. In totality, we go for election knowing very well that the winner is there. We go for election knowing that the sitting government, the sitting president will definitely win because of so many reasons. So that has not given us the podium to exercise our mandate as one arm of a multi-party political system.
Yes, sir.
As FDC, just like any other position, we would have admired to have a country that is run independently, that is run collectively by the entire interest of the various differing voices, that brings in alternatives, policies that should be implemented to help the country move forward. We have been denying those opportunities. And right now as I talk, the country is sinking with a lot of debts. The indebtedness rate is too high. The level of growth and development has gone down simply because the sitting government does not want to give a level platform to any defying voice, even if you have an alternative idea that can guarantee progress in the country. You're not given opportunity. You are taken as an intruder. You are taken as an outsider, not a beneficiary of the country that belongs to us.
Honorable, we thank you for so far as we are moving forward. We, the Ugandans, especially those who be not with us, you see, by the way, we are counting around since 2006 up to now. Someone who was born 2006 now is 18 years. He's an adult. And by the time when we were going through a number of turmoil, 2006, as you recall, I'm able to recall with you what happened with the real politics here, the contestation, 2-5, the contest between Dr. Kiza Besigye and also Genome 7. It was another one. So someone who wasn't around just doesn't know. And that's why I felt we needed to have such talk, and we go into the in-depth, bit by bit, like as we talk about what were the proposals in terms of the legislations that maybe since 2006 up to the time when the National Unity Platform took over as the leading opposition were still either being processed or maybe were shelved or never welcomed by the majority NRM-dominated parliament, as I can rightly state it. And also, I believe the viewers and the listeners are interested to know what has been the key economic agenda drawn through proposed economic policies, either as per every year, I understand very well, under the Office of the Leading Opposition, and as well as per every 5 years, the leading opposition, the FDC, could come up with a manifesto and say, look here, socially, this is what we look, politically, and the law, and all that kind of it. I would like, because I have a good time with you, we have enough time, I would like to give you more 5 minutes before we go for the break to begin to go into the in-depth of what is still burning in the heart and resolved question of the opposition in matters of legislation and in matters of promoting the economic agenda for socio-economic justice.
Yeah, thank you very much. That is a very good question. As opposition, what we really yearn for, number one, is electoral reforms. For any good progress in this country, looking at where we are, number one thing that we are looking at that should be initiated, that should be worked on first, is electoral reforms.
What's the challenge with electoral reforms? Because the NRM may be saying there's no problem.
You see, previously, if you may recall, we were having a two-term system, two terms, whereby a president is supposed to serve for 2 terms and hand over power to another person. And that one was amended, was removed. We were having an age limit that by the time the president clocked 75 years, should cease to be in office. That was heavily actually bought, was amended. Now, as opposition, what we are looking at, because all other legislative agendas are good, but the top on the agenda is electoral reforms. Because it is through the electoral reforms that we believe change of government through a democratic processes can help change a lot of things in this country, from economy, from education, and everything. Because at the moment, even if we talk about how best we can uplift education, if this current system in government does not want to give the podium for us to bring out the good ideas that we have to uplift the quality of education and to help the economy to grow, we will go nowhere. Now, in the electoral reforms that we came out with, first of all, we are looking at having a very independent electoral commission. Not this one who is appointed by the sitting president. Mr. Joseph, you will believe me that even if you were the one, if you are the appointing officer of the Chairman Electoral Commission and the bodies that control your election. There is no way that the person you appoint in that office will supervise of election that you should fail.
So even a young baby of 2 years should know that.
Should know that. Yes. So this kind of the pseudo independent electoral commission that we have in the country does not work. We needed a commission that can identify independently the Chairman Electoral Commission and entire bodies. So that first of all, election right from LC1 to presidency should be independent, should not be coerced, should not be swayed either with money or with appointment benefits, but very independent on quality and on ideas that the person presents. So number one thing that we as the opposition are looking for is electoral reforms to change the mechanism how the electoral commission body are being formed to manage the election. And then secondly, there are so many other sectors that equally hinder the growth and development of this country. First of all, even the legislature, the executives, the judiciary. Now, if the IGP is being appointed by the president, if the Chief Justice, the CJ of a country, the epitomes of legal perimeter, the CJ is appointed by the president, there is no way that such a CJ can behave the way these Kenyan people are now acting. You can see there is moderation, there is semblance of democracy in Kenya because of the processes at which they arrive at getting their CJ, their commission. At least it is a bit democratic. Not like for us here. So all we aspire to see is a country that has independent police, that does not take side, but enforces laws and order in
like
the country.
How it is in Kenya.
Like how it is in Kenya. All we aspire to have is a very nationalistic army that look at the interest of the country, not a personalized army, whereby the son of the commander-in-chief would call the army my army, and you wonder whether he bought them from somewhere else. So we need this kind of thing to be streamlined. Independency, the nationalistic tendency must be instilled in all these harms.
So now, Honorables, we are going for a break in 1 minute or two, because like I told you, there is a generation gap, and I would like us to imagine through this talk show in terms of our political economy. Someone may say, I have seen during election, Dr. Kizza Besigye giving him police to guard him. And this government is good. You know, some don't know the whole gist of the matter. Others may say, I have seen Chagulanye being given a whole vehicle, a truck, a military vehicle.
My brother, you see.
So they tend to think that the imbalance, the lack of neutrality you're talking about is not true. How are there incidents, 1, 2, as we go for a break, that Ugandans used to know and say, this was not good, we think there's a need of a change?
Let me first respond to the issues of giving escorts to presidential candidate. You see, at times, the government does that so that we share the spoil. So that they expose you. They expose the opposition. You see, they're being guarded by militaries and what and what. I remember how Dr. Besigye refused actually the convoy, but it was forcefully given. What was the reason? The reason they gave was that we want your safety to be there. If someone harm you, people might think it is the government that has harmed you. So we should give you this security apparatus to move with you. But literally as FDC, we didn't want that. We hate our own convoy all along. Even beside that, they were working, of course, in parallel, though helping in one way or the other. But the bottom line is, the system is actually rotten to the core.
Okay, thank you so much. We are going for the commercial break as we are dealing with multi-party democracy and the impact. We're able to get the commentary of and the opinion of Honorable Dennis Onekaleta Mere that there tend to be hypocrisy of what is being granted as you know, the army and the police for all, and it ends up some treating them different from others. That's what I'm able to moderate. And I would like us to stay on. This is a good night, and you cannot miss this. Don't go to sleep. We will continue with our session in the next segment.